Hello and welcome to Physics Teacher. In this video, I'm going to be going over functions and their key features. So if you're starting off in grade 11 U math and you're having trouble figuring out what this new F word is in math, it's not factoring, it's not fractions, it's functions. And I'm going to help you with all of this new terminology. And make sure you stay till the end because I'm going to give you some free stuff and we're going to do a little quiz to see how much you've learned. Let's get started. Alright, so what exactly is a function? Well, imagine we had this little machine and it can take in a certain input. So this will be our input. Well, a certain function will use that input, do some calculation, and spit out a single output. Okay, this is a function. Okay, the input will be x and the output will be the value of the function. Now, there are different ways to represent a function. Right? You can represent a function with an equation, and typically an equation we would do like y equals x. Well, very simple equation. Y equals x. It's a linear equation from grade 9. In function notation, we're going to write this as f at x equals x. So we're not going to be using y anymore. We're going to write f at x. This is not f times x. It is a certain function at a certain value of x. That is one way to represent a function. Another way to represent a function is, of course, graphically. So you can graph that function like so. Another way to represent a function is you can use a table of values. Okay, so we all know table of values, so x and y. We can have x as 0, 1, 2, 3, and in our very simple example, 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so a table of values is one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is using something called set notation. So what we do is we use these swirly brackets, and I'm very terrible at drawing those curvy brackets. But then you write all the coordinates. So you can write, for example, 0, 0 is one coordinate. And the next coordinate would be 1, 1. And the next coordinate would be 2, 2. And so on. And you would just keep going and you would write all the coordinates. Okay. And finally, another way we could do it is called a mapping diagram. So what we do is we draw all of our x's in here, like 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. And all of our y's in here, like 0, 1, 2, 3. And we say when you input x, you get this value out of the function. If you input 1 as x, you get this value out of the function, and so on and so on. Alright, so now that we know how to represent a function, like an equation, for example, is every equation a function? Or are there some that are not function? And there are. Okay, so there are some that are not functions. So let's look at some examples. So I've showed you a linear example. Okay, this, for example, is a function. In grade 10, you did quadratics. So a quadratic is also a function. However, if you've done circles, which you would have been introduced to them in grade 10, a circle is not a function. Now, they all have equations, right? This one's y equals x. This one's y equals x squared. And this one is y squared plus x squared equals whatever, 1. Okay? But here's the difference. If you input any value of x, you get one value of y. The same is true for a quadratic, but not for a circle. So the first two examples are functions. The last one is not a function. Now we can still call the last one a relation. They're all relations because we show how one variable is related to another. But the last one is not a function. Now an easy way to tell if something is a function, especially if you have a graph, is to do something called the vertical line test. So you can draw all these vertical lines, and as long as your vertical lines don't touch the function or your graph in more than one location, then it's a function. Okay? So you can see it's true for linear, it's true for quadratic, but if I did it on the circle, it fails the vertical line test because it touches in 2 locations. So essentially you're giving an input, but you're getting 2 different outputs. That is not a function. Okay, now you can recognize this in a graph or in an equation. You can also go back and look at, say, your mapping diagram. And if you have x and y, and you have, let's say, 0, 1, 2, 3, and let's say you had 2, and that value were to spit out 2 different values of y, this is not a function. So let's take a look at this notation. So I have f at x. Let's take x squared plus 1. Now if you have an input, you get a single output. So if I were to input the value of 2, here's how we write it. We say this function, when x is equal to 2, gives us a certain value. And we can calculate what that output would be simply by substituting 2 in for x. So you would get 2 squared plus 1, so that equals 5. So when you input 2 into the function, the output is 5. Okay. Similarly, if you were to have f of 3, right, input 3 into the function. So substitute 3 in for x, you get 3 squared plus 1. So that's 9 plus 1. Your output is 10. This is function notation. Now another function we are going to be introduced to in grade 11, well, there's 2 other functions. We know the linear function and we know the quadratic function. There's also this one. It's just good to know. This is f at x is equal to the square root of x. So there's our radical. And another one, which is even wonkier, is when we have f at x equals to 1 over x. So this one looks like 2 boomerangs. One here and one here. Now neither of these graphs are to scale. I know I have graph paper here. I could have drawn them better. But this point here would be 1 and 1, and this point here would be -1 and -1. And similarly, over here, you could easily draw a table of values. And if x is equal to 4, your y value would be 2. So you could have a point like 4 and 2. But you can also have a point 1 and 1. Now, 2 very important things about these, and we are going to bring in the concept of domain and range. Okay, domain is where the function exists on our x-axis. Okay, this is called our domain. Now notice with this function, it never becomes negative, because you can't put a negative there because you'd have the negative of a square root. What does that equal? Okay, we're not dealing with that in grade 11. So it only is true for numbers greater than, or when x is greater than or equal to 0. So we have to state this in what we call a domain. So we say the domain is equal. Okay, we're going to write this in set notation. So we're going to use these curly brackets here that I'm terrible of drawing. We're going to say that x must be greater than or equal to 0. And then you've probably seen this before. This says that x is an element of all real numbers. What does that mean? Well, it means that x isn't simply an integer. Otherwise, if x is only integers, you can write this. Right? And x is an element of integers. So the only possible values of x would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But we also have the possibility that x is equal to 1.8729486. Right? because those are all possibilities, we say x must be greater than 0, but it can be any real number greater than 0. Okay? So that is what that means. Now the range is our vertical. Okay, so where does this function exist on our y-axis? Now similarly, notice this doesn't go below y equals 0. It only exists above. So we say that y must be greater than or equal to 0 as well. So that is our range. And so the range is equal to, set notation, so curly brackets, y must be greater than or equal to 0. And it is an element of all real numbers. And that is how you do the R. That's not my way of doing an R. I draw R's like this, but when we write the symbol for real numbers, it's a double line like that. Alright, so let's look at this f at x equals 1 over x example. Now there's something really cool about this example. Notice how, as we go to the right, this function, or this boomerang, gets closer and closer to 0, but never reaches it. Similarly, as this one goes to the left, we get closer and closer to this y equals 0 mark, but never reaches it. It will go on forever and never reach. So this is called an asymptote. Specifically, this one is a horizontal asymptote. This is how you spell it. Asymptote. Now similarly, as the values get closer and closer to x equals 0, the y values blow up, but it never actually reaches x equals 0. So this is x equals 0. This is our vertical asymptote. And if you look at the function, you can see why. I mean, what happens if you plug x equals 0? What happens if you were to try and solve for f at x where x is 0? You would get 1 over 0. What does that equal? It's undefined. You can't divide by 0. Okay. Similarly, the value of the function can never be 0. How could you possibly get a value that is 0? Think about it. X cannot be 0. Right? It can be greater than 0. It can be less than 0, but it can't be 0. As we continue moving over to the right, we pick a bigger and bigger number. Let's say you pick a number of 1,000,000 and you try to figure out what f at 1,000,000 is. Right? And you punch in 1 divided by 1,000,000, so 10 to the 6. It's not 0. It's getting close to 0, but it's not 0. You can do a billion, a trillion. It doesn't matter. Right? It's never going to reach 0. So these are our horizontal and vertical asymptotes, and we can write a domain and range for these as well. So let's write our domain. So our domain in this case, right? Domain is x, and we know that x cannot equal 0. So x cannot equal 0, but otherwise x is an element of all real numbers. Similarly, our range is true for everything, but y cannot equal 0. And this is true for all real numbers. Alright, so that's it for the lesson, but let's go ahead and do our little quiz, see how much you've learned. So step 1, I want you all to try this, I'll show the answer, but step 1, sketch a graph that's not a function. Try it. Sketch a graph that's not a function. Pause the video here. And for bonus marks, try to do one that's not a circle. Think of something else. Okay? Alright, when you're ready, unpause. And here's a good example. Take a parabola and turn it sideways. Yep, you can do that, but it's not a function. It does not pass our vertical line test. It fails the vertical line test. All right, how'd you do? Second question. Sketch a graph that is a function. This should be fairly easy. We did lots of examples. You can use one of those examples, or you can pick your own. All right, did you get one? Now, I'm doing a parabola, but you don't have to do the parent function, right? That parabola is also a function, even though the vertex is not at 0, 0. I just translated it a little bit. Okay, this could be, let's say I moved it up 2 units, or to the right 1 unit, so we could have f at x equals x minus 1 squared plus 2. There you go. All right, last one. I want you to sketch a graph that has the following domain and range. So the domain can be any value and all values for x, and the range must have the y value greater than or equal to 2, but otherwise all real values. Give it a try. All right, now you could have done a couple things, right? If you look at the example up above of the parabola, where the lowest possible value is 2, this actually works, right? It covers all x values, and the y values must be greater than or equal to 2. Now another example, you can just draw, if you want to just do a linear function, you can do a linear function where it looks something like this. Right? So maybe it just starts here, it doesn't go on forever. That would work as well. Okay, I hope this video has helped. If you have any questions, let me know. And also, if anyone is going to be taking grade 12 physics in the future, I am offering my whole course pack for free that you can download in the description. Thanks for watching.